Hello everyone, it's Kelly here from spiritualawakeningsigns.com, and if you don't know me, I help people like you who are going through spiritual awakening to reduce your symptoms and make the whole process much easier. And that's what we're talking about today. So we're getting into spiritual awakening survival because it's a really tough process, it's really difficult to get through, and sometimes there are certain things that you just need to know to move through in a way that's not going to completely debilitate you in the process. So there are two key things that you need to know and that you must do if you want to move through spiritual awakening without all the drama, without all the upset, without the exhaustion and all the other challenges that come with it, because it is a really challenging process. But we'll get into that in just a little moment, and I've also got some exciting free resources to help you do exactly what I'm listing in this video, so you'll have everything that you need and it's all going to be okay. And of course, if you're joining us live, please say hello and let me know some of the spiritual awakening challenges that you're having, some of the symptoms that come up. We've got a whole host of different things that come up, things like anxiety, things like sensitive emotions, things like empathy, things like exhaustion, things like physical issues. We get a lot of crazy stuff going on, so it's not easy. So of course, please do say hello, and we'll get into the video. So spiritual awakening survival, if you want to make it through your spiritual awakening without becoming completely debilitated, without being completely overwhelmed, because I know firsthand how difficult it can be. There are times where you just feel so alone and you think you're never going to get through it, maybe even start questioning if it's an awakening at all or if you've just lost your mind. I know, I've been there and so have so many of my clients. I know what it's like. But there are two key things that you need to know about when you're moving through awakening. So the two parts of the process that are going to get you through the awakening part of the process and into the kind of ascended energy, because that's where we're really trying to get. The whole thing isn't about the awakening process. The awakening process is really just the short-term part to get you to that awakened, enlightened state where you're fully embodying your true, authentic self. Your gifts and abilities are at the forefront, and you're connected to your higher self all the time. You're really living that in who you are and having an ascended life experience. Well, there are two things that you need if you want to get to that part. You want to get through the ascension part and into, through the awakening part and into feeling ascended, feeling like you've fully woken up and the process is a lot more complete. Even though there will still be things that come up for a long time afterwards. The two things that you need, first of all, you need grounding. Now, this is something that I never seem to really see covered when it comes to spiritual awakening, and I don't know why. But grounding is really important. You need to ground your energies, because when that high vibrational energy comes into your system and catalyzes the awakening process, it's kind of like a bomb going off in your chakras. It's like completely crazy, everything gets heightened, and it's the heightening nature of that and the fact that our bodies can't bring the density back into the energy that we're pulling in. It's too high for us, we're not quite there yet. It's that energy that causes all your symptoms. So the cause of things like anxiety, high sensitivity, wild swinging emotions, exhaustion, physical fatigue, all the different challenges that you get with awakening is because you're not grounded enough. It's because that energy has come into your system, it's catalysed the awakening process, and your system's just wrecked trying to deal with it all. It's just too high a vibration just yet for it to hold on to it. It doesn't know what to do. So you need to ground it. Now, the good news is I've got a free resource that you'll find in the description link. You can go there to get our free 5-day course that will teach you everything you need to know about grounding, because it's not the same as normal grounding. So everyone thinks you can just ground using crystals or oils or incense or even yoga, meditation. These things tend to have the opposite effect on spiritual awakening, and that is the secret that nobody tells you. Now, the free 5-day course that we're listing will show you everything you need to know. It will teach you grounding techniques. It will show you an understanding of a process and what happens to your energies, why these things make you feel the way that they do, so that you can avoid them. And you'll be feeling a lot better after that. So the first thing is you've got to ground your energies if you want to reduce those symptoms and you want to feel better. That's the thing that's going to calm everything down within yourself. But the second step that you need to do, you absolutely must do, is healing. You have to heal. I'm going to go into that a little bit in a moment, but the reason you need to do that is because when you go out through awakening, what starts to happen is all your stuff comes up. And we're not just talking about this lifetime alone. This lifetime alone really is just a tiny little part of it. The most that you'll go through in spiritual awakening is really all the past life stuff, all the faulty belief systems, all the trauma, all the upset, all the negativity, all the stress. It's all still embedded in the soul. So when you start to go through awakening, that stuff starts to bubble up to the surface. That's why we get so sensitive and emotional. Even if we don't consciously realise it's from another time, it starts to rise up to the surface. Life starts to become a lot more problematic and chaotic. And the reason for that is because this healing that you need to do, if you don't start taking control of it and you don't start healing it for yourself, it starts playing out in the real world. It starts playing out in your relationships, in your connections, in your work, in your daily life. And even if you try and hide, which I did for a long time, I absolutely hid in my house and didn't leave. And I thought, if I can just hide, this stuff will calm down. I won't need to deal with it. It doesn't work that way. You know, the next time you go to the shops, or you go to the petrol station, or you do something that you need to do, you get an interaction with someone that's snarky or it's rude, or, you know, people are really off with you and you're like, what's that? It finds its way to you. The universe knows that you need to have this stuff purged from your system, and it starts playing out in your daily life. The good news is that if you start taking control of that healing process, and if you start putting things in place to heal by yourself, you'll catch it usually before it starts to play out in your real life. So you can actually get ahead of that, and that's the thing. When you start doing healing, what you really start to do is to calm the entire awakening process down. So all the chaos, all the emotional turbulence, all the kind of the chaotic feelings of awakening start to calm down, because you're catching this stuff before it comes up. So really all that ever happens is you get this little bubble of emotion, and it's like, okay, I'm going to deal with that right now, or I'm going to deal with that today if I can. And if you can get it all resolved and purge the emotion and clear what needs to be cleared on your own terms, you'll stop it from playing out in your physical life in such an intense and draining way. Now, the good news is that there are resources that you can use to do that. My best recommendation would be Eft Tapping. So Eft Tapping is a really simple self-healing modality. You can use it on yourself. It's simple enough for children, and it is energy healing. And what we're doing is we tap on specific acupressure points around the body, and what that does is it unblocks any blocked energies in your system. It clears the emotion and it resets your nervous system. So you're working on both the energetic side of you and the physical side of you, and that's what makes it so special. It also completely grounds you. So you'll get the grounding and the healing when you do EFT. So that's why it's always the thing that I would recommend most for spiritual awakening. You can use that. Now, awesomely, we have a free course on that as well. We've got the 5-day Ascension aid, and it will teach you how to do this really simple EFT tapping method so that you can start healing for yourself. It's going to lead you through it. You'll be done in about 10 minutes. That's all it takes to actually learn the basic technique, and you'll have this fantastic energy healing technique at your tip of your fingertips, literally, to be able to start working on this stuff, which is really, really important. So the link is in the description. You can take a look at that too. And I'm just going to say a couple of hellos for people who have joined us, and if you have any questions, just let me know. So we've got David, hello there, from Jersey. We've got Karen from Pennsylvania, and we've got Anne as well. Hello everyone. I see some familiar faces. And of course, if you have any comments or questions about this, because it is the Spiritual Awakening Survival Toolkit, you need to ground and you need to heal. You can always ask us about this. So let's see. So Bonnie has sent us a comment. She says, I'm being triggered and so sensitive and sad about my son. Current experience now of drug and alcohol abuse from my childhood and marriage. How do I heal this so it will stop from recurring? It keeps coming up because I need to heal. Please, can you help me figure out how to heal this? Well, this is the thing that happens, Bonnie. You tend to find that these things cycle round and round over and over again, and some of it's really tough. Some of it is stuff that we just don't know how to handle. So the first thing that you want to do, which I know that you have actually already got a handle on, is grounding. The second thing you want to do is you want to get into healing, some form of healing. Now the thing is, it depends on where this originates. So oftentimes a lot of our energy healing meditations that we have will be the thing that you can use to work down through all that past life pain, and we've got it on every single topic and theme you could think of. I'll pop that in the description link as well for you guys. Anything you can think of, it's basically a healing that you can listen to, and it'll work through the layers. But it's important to acknowledge what most people never acknowledge is sometimes you need a little bit extra help. Sometimes for these issues there are things on the physical level that you need to go and get help with. So there seems to be an issue with us in Spiritual Awakening. We feel like we shouldn't go and get any additional help. We shouldn't seek mental health advice, or we shouldn't go to a doctor because it's not alternative. Sometimes these things are just things that we need to do. But what I would say is, with any of the issues that come up for you, and this goes for anyone going through awakening, you want to look at where it really comes from. Where did it start? The earlier you can go back and begin working there, the more that you'll do what I was talking about the other day. We call it theme healing. This is our technique. So if you can go as far back as you can to the first kind of memory of that feeling or that emotion or the thing that's driving it, then what you'll do is you'll collapse all the memories in between. So instead of having to work on maybe 20 memories that you'd have to keep working through and healing with a therapist or with someone else, you just need to work on the first one. Sometimes you need to work on the first one a couple of times, but generally it resolves it and you can move forward. It really makes a big difference. So that would be what I would say. Tune in, try and work out when's the first time you felt that way. What is it that makes you feel drawn to this stuff? What is the main emotion? And just focus on it for a few minutes. Close your eyes and go back to where that originated and find out what the cause is, and get working on it with EFT and even with a practitioner. If you can work with a practitioner, that will really help. And I know you use the energy healing meditations as well, so that's great. But I hope that you feel better soon. Marta says, what can I do about waking up in terrible emotional and physical shape every morning? Right, this is common in awakening because we're very busy throughout the night. Our souls and our energies are busy processing and doing lots of different changes, picking up things subconsciously while we sleep. There's a lot going on. So my advice really for that would be actually to ground yourself using some of the techniques that I mentioned before. So take a look around the space that you're sleeping in your room, and see if there is anything that would be a trigger. So you're looking for anything that would affect your energies, anything that would stimulate your energies. So things like crystals, things like essential oils, things like it can even be salt lamps, it can be any sort of kind of spiritual item that has any form of energetic effect on you, or is said to have any energetic effect. Try and move it out your space. Try and keep it an energy-free zone, which I know sounds like the opposite of what we would like, but you do tend to find that you'll have a calmer sleep if you do that. And also avoid any meditation before you go to bed. You quite often find that if you do that just before you're getting ready to settle down to sleep, it kicks up all the energies into high gear, it switches on all your psychic senses, and then you try to go to sleep and your system doesn't really get down to those sleep cycles where you would rest and recuperate. So bear that in mind. Those are the two things I would say. Clear out the space around you and avoid meditation or any other spiritual or energetic practice in the evening if you can, and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so I can see we've got a few hellos. I'll just say hello before we finish up. Hello to Mimi, hello to Nikki, hello to Sharianne, and Bonnie says thank you, you're very welcome, and hi to Julie as well. So fantastic guys, thank you for joining us. You've got the links below. You can check out our 2 free courses, and I'll also put the link to the energy healing meditations if you're looking to heal a bit more deeply and work through some of your stuff, particularly past life stuff, for any aspect of awakening. And I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.